Among the great spiritual masters of the 20th century, few have sparked as much mystery and curiosity as Georges Ivanovich Gurdjieff, a man of many talents. Master of dances, philosopher and writer, Gurdjieff crossed cultures and continents, gathering ancient wisdom to formulate a unique and original teaching. Born in the heart of Asia, in a region that served as a crossroads of civilizations, Gurdjieff grew up immersed in a world where ancient spiritual traditions were intertwined with daily life. His thirst for knowledge pushed him beyond the boundaries of the known, into remote places where few dared to venture. He was born in Alexandropol, which is now known as Gyumri in Armenia. At the time of his birth, the exact date of which is uncertain, estimated to be between 1866 and 1872, the city was part of the Russian Empire. Gyumri is the second largest city in Armenia and has a rich and complex history that contributed to the multicultural context that influenced Gurdjieff during his early years. This area was a meeting point for Orthodox Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Zoroastrianism, and various shamanic and esoteric practices. This rich and diverse environment exposed Gurdjieff to a wide range of spiritual traditions from an early age, fueling his interest in mysticism and inner exploration. His life spanned critical moments, such as the Russian Revolution of 1917 and the two world wars. The fall of the Russian Empire and the rise of communism brought radical changes to the political and social structure, influencing personal and spiritual freedoms. The late 19th and early 20th centuries were periods of great intellectual and spiritual ferment in many parts of the world. In the West, there was a growing interest in esotericism and Eastern philosophies, exemplified by movements such as Theosophy, which sought to merge elements of different spiritual traditions into a unified framework. Gurdjieff, traveling through various cultures, integrated many of these ideas into his teachings, creating a system that reflected a widespread desire for deeper spiritual understanding and integration. The period in which Gurdjieff lived also witnessed revolutionary scientific discoveries and technological advances. The increasing scientific understanding of the natural world sometimes clashed with spiritual visions, but for others, like Gurdjieff, it provided new ways to explore and explain the spiritual universe. Gurdjieff himself often discussed concepts such as energy and awareness in terms that anticipated some ideas of modern physics. In a life devoted to an insatiable thirst for knowledge, Georges Ivanovich Gurdjieff crossed the boundaries of the known world in search of the deepest roots of human wisdom. He himself recounted having formed, in his youth, a group called the Seekers of Truth, dedicated to the exploration and study of ancient wisdom through journeys to remote places such as Egypt, Tibet, India, Persia, and the fascinating cities of Afghanistan. These travels were fundamental in shaping the foundation of his future teachings, although many details remain shrouded in mystery, further fueling the enigmatic aura surrounding his figure. Gurdjieff integrated elements of Sufi traditions into his teachings, which included meditation exercises, music therapy, and sacred movements designed to help his students reach a state of greater awareness and inner harmony. His practice of the movements, a complex form of dance requiring high levels of concentration and coordination, can be seen as influenced by Sufi rituals. Georges Ivanovich Gurdjieff often told fascinating and mysterious stories about his travels and the people he encountered. One such story concerns his alleged association with the Samung Brotherhood, an ancient and secret school of wisdom that he claimed to have discovered during his years of searching in the Middle and Near East. The origin of the Samung Brotherhood is cloaked in mystery, partly due to Gurdjieff's descriptions, which are often enigmatic and symbolic. Gurdjieff himself did not clearly specify whether the Samung Brotherhood was of Sufi origin, but some aspects of his account and teachings suggest a connection with Sufi practices and traditions. Gurdjieff often spoke of Sufi influences in his teachings and travels, and his emphasis on sacred dances, music, and meditation techniques has evident parallels with Sufi practices, which use dance, such as the whirling dervishes, music, and the recitation of mantras to achieve elevated states of consciousness. Furthermore, the organizational structure and the transmission of knowledge through masters and disciples are common to both Sufi schools and Gurdjieff's account of the Sarmung Brotherhood. In any case, it is highly likely that Gurdjieff had contact with Sufi schools, but there is no definitive evidence of the existence of the Sarmung Brotherhood. Many believe that through the creation of an imaginary brotherhood, Gurdjieff could explore and impart symbolic teachings which are central to esoteric schools. The Sarmung could have symbolized the inner search and aspiration for a higher level of knowledge and awareness. Moreover, by introducing elements such as a secret brotherhood, Gurdjieff challenged his students to think more critically and inquisitively, pushing them to examine not only his teachings, but also their own beliefs and assumptions. But it was not only Sufi mysticism that shaped his worldview. Further west, among the ancient ruins of Egypt, Gurdjieff immersed himself in the age-old mysteries of the Egyptians. It was among those broken columns and faded hieroglyphs that he gained insights into the connection between man and the cosmos, a comprehension that would prove crucial in his future teachings. In Afghanistan and Tibet, he encountered sages and dervishes, guardians of ancient esoteric teachings. Particularly significant was the time he spent with a group of anchorites, from whom he learned advanced forms of self-discipline and meditation. The breathing and concentration techniques he acquired in those remote lands became the foundation of his work on self-development, a path toward the realization of the self. A particularly adventurous episode took place in historic Bukhara, in Uzbekistan, where Gurdjieff claimed to have discovered an ancient map pointing to the location of hidden knowledge buried beneath the sands of the vast desert. Following this map, he embarked on expeditions that led him to discover lost manuscripts and artifacts, each revealing fragments of occult knowledge. Every step of this journey was fraught with dangers. Thieves, extreme weather conditions, and the isolation of unexplored lands constantly tested his resolve. But for Gurdjieff, every obstacle was an opportunity to grow, to forge his character in the fire of adversity. These adventures, though shrouded in myth and difficult to verify, paint the portrait of a man who devoted every moment of his existence to the quest for a deeper understanding of the human being, a journey that wove together ancient spiritual traditions with new visions of awakening and personal growth. In 1912, Gurdjieff arrived in Moscow and began gathering around him a small group of disciples. With the outbreak of World War I and the subsequent Russian Revolution, he moved to St. Petersburg and then, in 1920, emigrated to Constantinople. After a short period in Berlin, he eventually settled permanently in France in 1922, where he founded the Institute for the Harmonious Development of Man near Fontainebleau. This became a center where students from all over the world came to study his methods. Gurdjieff proposed what he called the fourth way, distinct from the three traditional paths of spiritual search: the way of the fakir, dedicated to physical control; the way of the monk, focused on emotion and devotion; and the way of the yogi, which prioritizes mental development and meditation. The fourth way differs from the other traditional paths because it does not require withdrawal from the world. Instead, it is practiced within the context of everyday life. It focuses on achieving integration and balance between body, mind, and spirit through self-work, allowing for personal evolution without abandoning daily responsibilities and activities. Gurdjieff is known for introducing a series of esoteric practices and meditation techniques designed to increase self-awareness and self-mastery. His methods included ritualized dances and movements, known as Gurdjieff movements, intended to help practitioners achieve greater integration between mind, body, and spirit. However, the core of his teaching revolved around the importance of self-remembering, a constant state of awareness and conscious attention. A central concept in Gurdjieff's thought is non-judgmental self-observation, which enables greater self-awareness. Through self-observation, a person can begin to identify and eventually separate from their mechanical and automatic behaviors, which Gurdjieff referred to as sleep. This is a central metaphor in his teaching. Gurdjieff maintained that most people live in a kind of sleep during their daily lives, not fully aware of themselves or the world around them. Gurdjieff believed that human beings function automatically and habitually, driven by external and internal forces without genuine self-awareness. This state of sleep manifests itself through a lack of awareness and a reactive attitude to external conditions, rather than through conscious and deliberate choices. A core theme of his teaching is the necessity to awaken from this sleep. Awakening is seen as a process of inner growth and the realization of one's deepest potential. To awaken means to become aware of one's true nature and capacities. Self-remembering is a further development of this practice, where the individual seeks to be constantly aware of themselves in relation to their environment, maintaining continuous mental presence. Another very important notion introduced by Gurdjieff is the law of three, a cosmic law according to which every phenomenon results from three forces: positive, negative, and neutralizing. This law is used to explain the dynamics of every event, situation, or human interaction. Alongside this operates the law of seven, also known as the law of the octave, which describes processes of development and evolution in terms of 7 steps or intervals that must be completed to reach a new state or level of being. This law was explained through music, with its 7 notes, after which the higher octave is reached, the same starting note of the scale, but higher in pitch. Gurdjieff specified that the law did not arise from the observation of music, but rather music itself derived from this cosmic law. Another important concept of his teaching was the theory of the centers. Gurdjieff said that human beings are composed of different centers or aspects, the main ones being the intellectual center, the emotional center, and the physical center, also called the instinctive motor center. Each center has its distinct functions, but often operates out of harmony with the others, leading to misalignments and inefficiencies in perception and action. Self-work aims to develop harmony among these centers, leading to the formation of a more integrated and capable being. As mentioned earlier, Gurdjieff is also famous for introducing his students to complex sequences of movements and dances, often referred to as Gurdjieff movements or sacred dances. These served not only as a form of moving meditation, but were also intended to help students directly experience and learn the principles of his teaching, such as conscious attention and self-remembering, while also promoting balance among the various centers. Gurdjieff's teaching, with its emphasis on self-knowledge, inner transformation, and adaptability to the conditions of modern life, continues to attract followers and spiritual seekers around the world, offering a path that is both challenging and deeply rewarding. Gurdjieff gave his students specific work exercises to practice daily. These exercises varied greatly and could include tasks aimed at interrupting mechanical habits, such as changing the hand used for daily activities, or meditative practices focused on specific thoughts or sensations. The exercises were adapted to the individual needs of the students to help them develop greater self-awareness and self-sufficiency. Group work was another fundamental aspect of his approach. Students worked together in various activities, including discussions, manual labor, and the aforementioned sacred dances. This group work was essential for confronting personal limitations and learning from others, developing empathy and mutual understanding. Gurdjieff also placed significant emphasis on the role of diet and fasting practices. These practices were not intended solely for physical benefits, but as part of a broader process of purification and as tools for gaining greater self-control and increasing inner sensitivity. Music held a special role in his practices. He composed many pieces together with Thomas de Hartmann, which were used during movement sessions, for meditations, or simply listened to as part of the teaching. The music helped students reach deeper states of emotional and mental awareness. Gurdjieff was a key figure in the esoteric movement of the 20th century, and his teachings continue to influence many spiritual seekers to this day. His techniques and methodologies offer a practical and often rigorous approach to spiritual awakening and self-realization. The legacy of Georges Ivanovich Gurdjieff is vast and has influenced a wide range of disciples, thinkers, artists, and spiritual seekers around the world. His ideas and methods, which combine elements from various spiritual traditions with innovative practices for inner awakening, have left a lasting mark on the history of esoteric thought and personal development. After his death in 1949, his teachings were carried forward by his direct students and disciples, many of whom founded schools and groups dedicated to the practice and dissemination of his work. Gurdjieff also had many prominent disciples among notable and culturally significant figures of the time. Probably the most famous was P.D. Uspensky, a Russian philosopher and writer who met Gurdjieff in Moscow in 1915. After years of working with him, Uspensky later distanced himself for reasons he never disclosed and began teaching independently. Uspensky played a crucial role in spreading Gurdjieff's teachings. Two of his books, which present Gurdjieff's system in detail, became particularly famous. In Search of the Miraculous, originally fragments of an unknown teaching, and The Fourth Way. Another key figure in Gurdjieff's legacy was Jan de Salzmann, who met the master in Tiflis, modern-day Tbilisi, in 1919 and became one of his closest collaborators. After Gurdjieff's death, she played a crucial role in continuing his work and in founding centers for the study of his teachings in various parts of the world, including Paris, London, New York, and Caracas. Jean de Salzmann was the principal custodian of the sacred dances, or movements, which are considered unique for their ability to lead students to experience elevated states of consciousness and inner transformation through physical work. These exercises are meticulously designed to help individuals perceive their mechanical presence and access deeper levels of self-awareness and self-observation. Gurdjieff also had a remarkable impact on broader cultural fields, influencing writers, musicians, and filmmakers. His book, Meetings with Remarkable Men, was adapted into a film by British director Peter Brook, helping to introduce his figure and his ideas to a wider audience. Gurdjieff introduced numerous innovative concepts in the field of depth psychology, such as the idea of the sleep of awareness in which most people live and the necessity of self-work for awakening. His ideas anticipated and influenced later developments in psychology, such as mindfulness and attentive presence. In the context of contemporary spiritual research, Gurdjieff is regarded as a pioneer in the synthesis of Eastern and Western spiritual traditions. His emphasis on the importance of awakening amid daily life, rather than through withdrawal from the world, is a perspective that continues to resonate with many people seeking to integrate spirituality with the demands of modern life. We have journeyed through the life and work of Georges Ivanovich Gurdjieff, exploring his world rich in mysteries and profound teachings. His unique vision of spiritual search and inner awakening still challenges us today to look beyond the surface of our everyday existence. Gurdjieff left us with essential questions. Who are we, really? How can we live a life full of meaning and awareness? His techniques, weaving together ancient spiritual traditions with innovative practices, continue to influence those who seek to transform both their inner and outer lives. With this, we invite you to reflect on how Gurdjieff's teachings could be applied to your personal life. Could his call for greater awareness and presence become a guide on your own path of growth and discovery? Thank you for joining us on this exploratory journey. We invite you to share your reflections, experiences, or any thoughts this documentary may have sparked within you. Comment below, subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest releases. Until next time, keep searching, keep exploring, and keep growing. Life is real only when I am.